The real book says things in 4/4 a lot, all the styles, jazz and things like that, and then they just like, you know, write this way. That's not the best way to notate this music in my estimation. You know, everybody in Brazil and everybody that plays music plays in 2 and notate into either 2/4 or 2/2. So if you take a look at the chart, which I'll share in a second, the easiest way to read exactly what it is the note is just understand that it's in 2/2. That will kind of take care of all those figures reading as it is as in 2/2. If you play in 2/4, then you have to like rethink the figures. There will be a grid below from there. So all these quarter notes becomes 8 notes, and 8 notes becomes 16 notes, which is usually where we operate. So that's the explanation. I hope it was a proper one. Let's start taking a look at this chart and see what's up with that. Here we go. As you can see, in 4/4. If you look into that chart as 2/2, you can read right away as it is. But if you want to do 2/4, you gotta sort of like change the way you look at these figures. You know, the dotted half would be dotted quarter, the quarter would be 8, and so on and so forth. The 8 notes become 16 notes. That's the sort of proper way to look at that chart. There's another question here. Let me go back. Let me go back to it and put the question here for Mark. The emphasis here seems to be on the first beat, which should not seem to coincide with the primary beat in bossa being on 2. Was this written as a bossa? Well, great question. It says here that it's a slow bossa, but your perception is accurate. Everything seems to kind of go heavy on 1. Right? That doesn't help us, right? To play that way. There is an antidote to play that way and still kind of carry some kind of groove. And of course they wrote this way. That's kind of how they see the music. But you know, if I would write this, it wouldn't be like this. But I didn't write this Shed Off for a Smile, unfortunately. I wasn't that lucky to write a beautiful song like that and popular and famous. But we talked about this, Mark, in the meetings before, probably prior from your entrance there. When you have melodies like this, they are still heavy on 1 and have that emphasis. How do we deal with them? We have ways to do that. One thing that I use quite a bit is to implement more of that choro kind of groove, which I probably haven't seen yet, but you will see in the platform soon, which is more like all 16 notes. And then you put the rest on the first 16, and that's the bass. You basically put that figure you're talking about, 16, 8, 16, inside that. So you have 4 16 notes, 2 are connected, right? That's the 8 notes in the shape, 16, 8, 16. And then the 16 note grid kind of takes care of the rest. But the result will be this, right? That takes care of that sort of like emphasis on 1, you know. See, that's a little antidote to that, because that melody doesn't help us. You know, we have to really do some serious Sambafying on this song to make it. If you play like that, you know, it's hard. You gotta play 16 notes, but then apply that groove, and then here you can. Play all the syncopations in to make this thing dance in a way, right? But the way the note is written doesn't really help us, and that's kind of a challenge to play this stuff.